Peter is in the boat. The wind howls. The waves crash violently against the wooden structure, and the darkness of the night makes everything even more terrifying. The boat rocks, the disciples cling tightly, struggling to keep their balance. Fear rises, and then something unbelievable happens. There, in the middle of the storm, a figure appears, walking on the water. The disciples stare, but their eyes refuse to believe what they're seeing. Their hearts race. This can't be real, a ghost. Panic grips them, and they scream in terror. But then a strong voice cuts through the roar of the wind. "It is I. Do not be afraid." Peter squints, trying to see more clearly. His heart is still pounding, but now, something inside him whispers that there is more to this moment than just fear and chaos. While the other disciples hesitate, Peter does something unthinkable. He doesn't just want to witness the miracle. He wants to be part of it. He leans forward and shouts, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." Silence. The wind still howls. The sea still rages. And then, a simple, direct response. "Come." Peter swallows hard. His hands tremble. His heart is pounding so loudly it feels like everyone on the boat can hear it. But he makes a decision. Slowly, he lifts one leg and places his foot over the water. The cold of the sea creeps up his skin. He takes a deep breath and steps out of the boat. And then, something incredible happens. His foot does not sink. He feels the firmness of something invisible holding his body. One step, then another. The impossible becomes reality. Peter is walking on water, but something changes. The wind blows even harder. The crashing of the waves grows louder. The fear, which seemed to have been left behind, suddenly surges back with full force. And before he can react, Peter begins to sink. What does this have to do with you and your dreams? Is your faith strong enough to sustain you when things get tough? Could you take this step of courage and stand firm? In today's video, we are going to reveal the 3 steps that Peter teaches us about courage and determination to follow your dreams. And if you want to learn how to turn your faith into action, go ahead and like this video to support this content. Faith can move mountains, but is believing alone enough? How many times have you felt motivated to pursue a goal, convinced that everything would work out, only for things to start falling apart along the way? Fear creeps in, obstacles grow bigger than you expected, and suddenly, what once felt within reach now seems distant, impossible, completely out of sight. Peter's story teaches us something powerful. He had the courage to take a step of faith and do the impossible. Yet he still began to sink. What does that mean? Was his faith not strong enough? Or was there something more he needed to understand? Most people think that all they need to do is trust and wait for things to happen. But the truth is, there is a secret behind faith that actually turns dreams into reality. A secret that separates those who achieve their goals from those who give up halfway. Peter reveals to us that there are 3 essential elements to living the impossible. And the most fascinating part, these same principles can be applied to your life, your challenges, and your dreams. But here's the most important detail. There's one mistake that almost everyone makes. A mistake that can cause you to sink before you even reach your destination. And if you're not paying attention, you might be making this mistake without even realizing it. By the end of this video, you will discover exactly what caused Peter to sink and how to avoid making the same mistake in your own journey. Are you ready to learn the 3 steps of faith and determination that can change your life? Then keep watching, because what comes next might completely transform the way you face your challenges. Night falls over the Sea of Galilee. The wind begins to pick up, and the waves crash against the boat's hull, shaking it violently. The disciples are exhausted. Just hours ago, they witnessed one of Jesus' greatest miracles. 5 loaves and 2 fish multiplied to feed a crowd of over 5,000 people. It was impossible, but it happened. Now, as they row against the growing storm, The excitement from that miracle feels distant. The darkness of the night is heavy, and the cold wind cuts against their faces. They wonder why Jesus sent them across the sea alone. The journey should have been smooth, but now it seems impossible to reach the other side. Every wave that strikes the boat makes them grip the wet wooden edges even tighter, their fear growing with each passing moment. And then, something happens. Amid the raging sea, illuminated by flashes of lightning, a figure appears, walking on the water. The disciples shrink back, their eyes wide with terror. The howling wind merges with their frantic cries. It's a ghost, someone shouts, and panic takes over. Their hearts race, their breathing turns shallow. Nothing in human logic can explain what they're seeing. But then, the figure raises a hand and speaks firmly, his voice cutting through the roar of the storm. "It is I. Do not be afraid." For a moment, everything seems to pause. The winds still blow, the waves are still high, but now, something is different. The disciples exchange bewildered glances. Could it really be Jesus? And this is when Peter does something unthinkable. While the others remain frozen, trying to make sense of what's happening, he leans forward. His heart is pounding, but not with fear, with anticipation. If that truly is Jesus, then that means the impossible can be real. He doesn't just want to witness the miracle. He wants to experience the miracle. Peter shouts, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." The other disciples stare at him in disbelief. This is madness. The sea is rough. The wind is strong. Peter could drown, but he doesn't take his eyes off Jesus. He waits, and then the answer comes. "Come." Here begins one of the boldest decisions in the Bible. Peter is about to take a step that defies logic, fear, and everything he has ever known about reality. And this decision can teach us how to develop the courage to pursue our own dreams. The wind howls, and the waves keep crashing against the boat. The cold night air mixes with the weight of fear. The disciples are still in shock over what they've just seen. Jesus stands there, unmoving, upon the water, while Peter remains at the edge of the boat, breathing heavily. He has made the decision to step out, but he has yet to take that first step. Now, think for a moment. What if it were you? Have you ever had a dream, a goal, something burning inside you? But when the moment to act arrived, fear paralyzed you? How many times have you wanted to do something great, but doubt was stronger? Would you have the courage to step out of the boat? Peter teaches us something powerful. Courage is not the absence of fear. He was afraid. The boat was still rocking. The storm had not stopped. But even so, he chose to act. And that makes all the difference. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's not about having absolute certainty. It's about choosing to trust, even without guarantees. And the truth is, this same decision can change your life. If you are waiting for fear to disappear before you take your first step, you may never leave the boat. Fear might always be there, but it cannot be louder than your faith. Now, the question is, how do you develop that kind of courage? How do you take action, even when circumstances say it's impossible? Peter left us a path, 3 steps that can completely transform the way you face your challenges. And in the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly what they are. So, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this is the moment. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos, and share this content with someone who needs this message. Let's learn together how to turn faith into action. Peter stands at the edge of the boat. The wind is fierce, the storm is still raging, and the sea remains rough. But he doesn't look at any of that. His eyes are locked on Jesus. The impossible stands before him. And in that moment, he makes a decision. He dares to ask for something no one has ever asked before. "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He could have waited for Jesus to come to the boat. He could have stayed where it was safe, watching from a distance as the miracle unfolded. But Peter wanted more. He wanted to experience the supernatural. And this is where we learn the first step to living something extraordinary. Dare to ask for the impossible. Many people never achieve great things because they don't even allow themselves to believe that such things are possible for them. They limit their own prayers. They set barriers on what God can do in their lives. But Peter didn't do that. He didn't ask for something small. He didn't say, "Lord, calm the storm so I can step out." He asked to walk on water. And what was Jesus' response? A single word, "Come." Now, Peter had a choice. He had received permission, but he had yet to take the first step. The boat was still rocking. The sea was still raging. Nothing had changed. And yet, he stepped out of the boat. This teaches us the second step. Take the first step, even without guarantees. Peter didn't wait for the waves to settle. He didn't ask for an extra sign. He didn't question, "Lord, what if I sink?" He simply acted. And that is the difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who stay in the boat. The ones who act, even without knowing how things will turn out. How many times have we held back from doing something because we wanted absolute certainty that everything would work out? We wait for perfect conditions, the ideal moment, a foolproof plan. But the truth is, that perfect moment never comes. If you want to achieve something great, you need to start, even if you still have doubts. Peter steps out of the boat, and the miracle happens. He walks on water. The impossible becomes reality. But then something changes. The wind blows even harder. The waves seem to rise higher around him. And Peter makes a mistake that will cost him everything. He takes his eyes off Jesus and looks at the storm. And that's when he begins to sink. Here is the third and final step. Keep your focus on God, not on the storm. As long as his eyes were fixed on Jesus, Peter walked on water. But the moment he focused on the difficulties, the fear, the circumstances, he began to sink. And this is the mistake most people make. They start strong, full of faith and motivation, but then the challenges come. The opinions of others, financial struggles, the fear of failure, doubts, and they lose focus. And that is when many give up. Peter was sinking, but before the sea could completely swallow him, he cried out, "Lord, save me." And Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him. So now, the question is, what is distracting you? Is it fear, the opinions of others, your past, your doubts? If you want to walk on water, if you want to live something extraordinary, you need to learn to keep your eyes on the promise, not on the problem. Because when you focus on the storm, you will sink. But if you keep your eyes on God, the impossible can become reality. Peter begins to sink. Fear takes over. What seemed like a miracle is now turning into despair. But before he is swallowed by the waves, he does something essential. He cries out for help. "Lord, save me." And immediately, Jesus reaches out his hand and catches him. This is the part of the story everyone knows. Many look at Peter and say, "He doubted. That's why he sank." Others say, "He failed." But few realize the detail that changes everything. Peter may have sunk, but at least he tried. Now look inside the boat. See the other disciples. None of them had the courage to step out. None of them took even a single step on the water. None of them dared to experience the impossible. Peter's mistake was not sinking. The greatest mistake would have been never trying at all. While the other disciples remained trapped in fear and doubt, Peter lived something no one else had ever experienced. He didn't just witness a miracle. He became part of the miracle. And now, I ask you, which disciple have you been? Are you just watching others achieve their dreams, waiting for life to happen, waiting for perfect conditions, trapped in the fear of failure? Or will you have the courage to step out of the boat and take action? The truth is, only those who try can fail. Only those who dare to step out of the boat can sink. And only those who risk experiencing the impossible will ever taste the extraordinary. So maybe today is the day you stop just watching and finally take your first step. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Peter is back in the boat. His body is still soaked, his heart racing, his breath heavy. But something inside him has changed. He is no longer the same man who hesitated before stepping out. He has experienced something that none of the other disciples ever did. He walked on water. The storm has passed. The sea is now calm. But inside the boat, the silence is not one of relief. It is a silence of deep reflection. The other disciples exchange glances, processing what they have just witnessed. And now think about this. Peter's story is not just about a man walking on water. It's about the power of faith combined with action. How many times have you wished for something, dreamed of something, but never taken the first step? How many times have you waited for perfect conditions, the right moment, the assurance that everything would work out before taking action? But faith doesn't work that way. Faith without action is dead. Peter dared to ask for the impossible. He didn't just wait. He took the first step without guarantees. He believed it was possible. And even when he started sinking, Jesus was there to lift him up. Maybe you tried something before and failed. Maybe you felt like you were sinking and thought you wouldn't be able to continue. But here's the truth. If God has called you to something, He will always reach out His hand to lift you up. So what will you do now? Will you keep watching miracles happen in other people's lives? Or will you finally step out of the boat and step into what God has for you? If this video spoke to you, don't leave without subscribing to the channel. Here, we explore biblical stories like this one to help you strengthen your faith and apply these teachings to your life. So subscribe now, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs this message. Because maybe today is the day you decide to take your first step.